Alas, we are back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fight Club Episode 4. I had to take a break a week ago because of the amount of repairs I've been doing. It's been tiring. But during that time gap, we have managed to completely redesign some bots, upgrade and repair them, as well as bring in some new faces as well. Let's go over the Fight Club fight card. Fight Club fight card. For our opener, we've got Double Down versus Carno. Then we move on to Rip Current versus Heatwave. Then we got Torpedo versus a newcomer in Black Raven. AD versus Cyclone for our fourth. Bloodsport versus Peacekeeper, another one. Hijinks and Badger for our sixth fight. And for our main event, two bots that were really entertaining in the first episode of Fight Club. We've got Division versus Mayhem. Let's go to fight one. Quite a exciting opener we have here. We've got Double Down versus Carno for our first fight. Double Down was a wedge bot that was designed to be a puncher as well, but I never got the puncher working, so I think it's just going to be my kind of blind side. Double Down is using, again, the wedge it used against Malice, and for good reason. Their opponent is Carno. Carno got completely redesigned after the beating it took against Icebreaker. New blade, wedges, and overall just upgraded to do a lot better. But let's see if that new disc of Carno can have an impact on the most durable bot here, which is Double Down. So let's go in the box and see who comes out on top. Oh man, it feels good to be back and let the bot battle begin. Redesigned Carno versus Double Down. Double Down doing really well here, controlling Carno and throwing them near the screws here, and now throwing them into the screws. You can kind of hear that weapon taking chunks out of the screws. That's good control there from Double Down. This new redesigned Carno is nothing really too major. It's got some wedges and plows in the front, and then that spinner is now thick and heavy, with no kind of gaps as the old one did, which was starting points for when Icebreaker broke it into three pieces. So Carno, well, more improved now, way more powerful as well. But right now, Double Down proving all of us wrong with how many pins they're getting in this kind of first half of the match here. Double Down doing a really good job controlling the beast known as Carno. Carno really needs to get to the back because Double Down is unable to really score damage. It's just a wedge bot. But the pits have dropped. This is Double Down's best way to get a KO. It's really their only way to get a KO, but Carno has gotten to the back and is taking little chunks, not really chunks, they're kind of grinding that back, not really getting the hits they want, still chasing them here. Could they possibly rip that wedge off? No, they are now again being pinned by Double Down. This is a really good control display we're seeing from Double Down. Really hard for Carno to get behind that wedge. That wedge is really big, and it's like, I don't know, it like spans the size of two Carnos, so really hard to get around it. But Carno did it again. They got in the round and kind of grinding that back again. They need to get some better hits in, try and rip that wedge off. So far, I'd say Double Down is in the lead by far, but damage is going to go all to Carno in this one, and Carno putting a last-ditch effort as we reach the final 10 seconds of this match, and that is it. Carno had that little last-ditch effort at the end, but we'll see if it paid off. Double Down did really well in this fight, using the walls and its wedge to pin Carno more times than Carno could get to the back of Double Down. Carno tried its best grinding that wedge and getting a few hits here and there, but ultimately it wasn't enough. Double Down is still in one piece, and after that, Double Down walks away with a good control battle against a really, really scary bot here. I don't think this judge's decision will be that hard, but let's go there anyway. And the winner by a 10-5 decision is Double Down. That was an opening upset, but now we move to our second fight between Rip Current and Heatwave. Rip Current by Bonzel28. This is the Canadian's Rip Current. It's got an angled spinner, Ghost Raptor from WT Dynamics kind of blade on it, with on a beta with some plastic armor around it. Very powerful, but it's going against a bot designed for it, which is Heatwave, fast drive, wedges, and a vertical spinner. Really, weapon on weapons is what these bots really want to avoid here, but we'll see which weapon is more durable. Probably Heat Waves. And here we go with our second match. Let bot battle begin. Heatwave box rushing, trying to slow down that blade of Rip Current, but now it's already up to speed. That's a good push there by Heatwave, pushing Rip Current's blade into the screws. Rip Current's blade, obviously, I've tried everything. I've tried something new here, wedging in a little plastic bit there, but Heatwave's weapon is down. That is very unusual. This is the first time. I think Rip Current might have sniped a wire off of Heatwave. That's another big hit by Rip Current, ripping off that little mini fork there. Heatwave trying its best to slow down that blade, but that is huge damage there from Rip Current. Really the first time we've seen that blade do something. It's knocked off the whole weapon wire from that motor. It's gear driven. Heatwave trying its best to slow down that blade. It's very hard to do, but the pits have now been opened. This is an opportunity for Heatwave to get their KO another way. Heatwave slowing down Rip Current's blade. This is good control here from Heatwave. Rip Current, oh my god!
Oh,
and I've just driven Heatwave down the pit. Well, Rip Current wins by KO. Yeah, good win.
It's fine. Heatwave wasn't winning that one.
Yeah, I could have redone this fight, but I wasn't repairing Heatwave to do it another. So Rip Current gets a pit KO because I've decided to turn a little bit late on Heatwave here. Rip Current looked really well. That blade is now a lot more durable. It's actually, Heatwave got a lot of good pushes, throwing them into the walls and stuff. And that blade also showed up. It ripped off the wire as well as the little mini fork there. Overall, not bad for Rip Current. I think this is a step in the right direction. Heatwave just got a little unlucky. My bad. But let's go to the next fight, please. I'm sure my ass is getting clowned for that one right now, but let's forget about it and move on to this fight here, which is bound to be entertaining. We've got Torpedo versus Black Raven. Torpedo is a redesign of the original Torpedo. It's got a flipper now instead of a lifter, 2 long Sawblaze forks, and some armor. Hasn't really showed up in the first fight against Spark. It's hoping to do that here. But against a pretty scary newcomer here against Black Raven. Black Raven is a bot from Oof Robotics. Shout out. It's a blacksmith hammer, 360 armor, very low forks, and a hammer that has a metal nail at the end of it, so it can actually do some kind of damage. But these are really 2 control bots. Pretty menacing, but only one could come out on top. Let's find it out now. This should be a good one. Let the bot battle begin. Torpedo and Black Raven, seeing which fork's getting lower, and that is Black Raven early, putting on or smacking Torpedo with that hammer. Like I said, Black Raven's got a metal spike in that hammer, but that's a nice flip there from Torpedo, flipping Black Raven almost over the arena, but that's a good self-right. Black Raven back on the attack and getting a nice pin there on the shelf and ripping off that top fin of Torpedo. That the top fin is for self-righting with that gone, so I don't think it will affect them too much, but that is damage. Black Raven still controlling Torpedo. Torpedo's, yeah, so we had to do an unstick here because Black Raven had a good amount of time on Black Raven's forks, so like we had to unstick them, but they're back on it. That back panel seems to have completely shut down one side drive on Torpedo. That is not good. The pits have just opened. I think is just going to be an easy pick KO for Black Raven here. Unlucky, and they're in. Black Raven gets their first win. Congrats, Oof. It's definitely a control bot to watch out for. Driving in this battle was, I think, the factor that determined who won and who lost. Black Raven just had way better turns and way better speed, better forks as well, and they were just able to control Torpedo the whole time. Torpedo did get this one flip, but it was not enough. Black Raven quickly self-righted and went right back to work. Black Raven got around to the sides a lot, and then this moment here when they knocked off the fin of Torpedo changed the match, because then that fin kind of got lodged under Torpedo, and they couldn't go anywhere, and they were right by the pit, resulting in an easy pick KO. Next fight. Here we have some kind of a classic here. We've got Aquatic Disaster from Ultimate Robotics versus Raindrop, which is essentially Cyclone from Chaotic Robotics. We all know who Aquatic Disaster is. I was too lazy to put the things on the chassis, so we just got this. It's using the two teeth kind of cage spinner to kind of match Raindrop, and then Raindrop's just gonna go face first into it. So let's just see how this goes. This could be interesting. Let's pop battle begin. Raindrop already going at the front of Aquatic Disaster. Aquatic Disaster already doing way better than it has been. That's a good shot there on the treads. But something just came flying off of Raindrop's disc. That is one of the coins. I think the damage from Trimangle from Raindrop's last fight could have been a starting point for one of those coins to come off, but Aquatic Disaster leads the damage category, something that these angled spinners rely so heavily on. Aquatic Disaster keeping really good position here, keeping itself in the center of the arena. It's not the fastest bot, but they're doing well against a veteran in Raindrop. Raindrop not doing so hot. It's kind of hard to control that bot, especially with a unbalanced disc. We are reaching the 1 minute mark very soon, so the pits will drop. If it was to become a pushing battle, Aquatic Disaster does have that back wedge, which could come in handy. Aquatic Disaster just needs to stay in the middle of the arena and keep racking up the aggression and damage points with that spinner. That's a nice little combo there by Aquatic Disaster, but Raindrop has just thrown them into the pit, and they are not moving. Oh, this is the comeback Aquatic Raindrop needed. Raindrop trying to free them, trying to keep the fight going, but I don't think they can. They are lodged in those screws really well. That is such a shame. Aquatic Disaster was leading that fight, but it is Raindrop that steals it from them. Good win there for Raindrop. Fuck, Aquatic Disaster is so unlucky. I don't even think it's won a fight on Icebreaker Robotics yet. This bot has been on a terrible losing streak, and it continued here. They were doing really well, leading the fight in exchanges and control and aggression and damage. And then Raindrop managed to get under that cage spinner and drive them towards the screws where the screws caught Aquatic Disaster's cage spinner, lodging them in there, and they could not get out. Raindrop with a miracle here. That's a good miracle for them, but sad to see Aquatic Disaster not win this one. Good win there for Raindrop, though. Next fight. On to our fifth fight here. We've got a banger. We've got Bloodsport versus Peacekeeper. Bloodsport, as we all know, this is an overhead tri-bar spinner. Pretty powerful. By force drive, low forks. It's gotten a new paint job on it, and instead of 2 forks, it's now got 4 like the original. It's still a very solid bot, one of the best ones I have. But going against a newcomer here in Peacekeeper, Peacekeeper's inspired a lot off of Oatmeal Robotics' Phantom. Shout out. It's got the big drum on a bite force body. It spins pretty fast, but not really as fast as Phantom, but should be a good match between a drum and a horizontal spinner. See who comes out on top.
3, 2, 1, go.
And let the bot battle begin. Both bots meet at the center, going weapon on weapon. Peacekeeper needs to keep that drum facing Bloodsport at all times, but Bloodsport doing a good job getting around to the sides. Peacekeeper has a lot of exposed wires on it, but that's good damage there from Peacekeeper, ripping off one of those forks. Bloodsport still has 3 more. Bloodsport trying to get that weapon fired up. It does take a little bit of time. That's good hit there on the side of Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper really needs to control Bloodsport, always staying in front. That's a good pop there by Peacekeeper, though. Popping Bloodsport in the air for a little bit. Peacekeeper doing pretty well here. Bloodsport hasn't really done too much, but... Oh, do you see that? I think Bloodsport might have just sniped a wire. That means one side drive is down. I don't think Peacekeeper is moving. I think there's a countdown going on. Yeah, Peacekeeper cannot move. Bloodsport's going to take the win, sniping that wire. Very similar to Rip Current versus Heatwave here. It was a couple exchanges early on here. Bloodsport got some good hits. Peacekeeper got some good hits. And then in the corner here, they managed to snipe the drive wire off of Peacekeeper, allowing it not to move. Unlucky for Peacekeeper. I'm going to redesign the drum because it's definitely not at its full potential. But that's a good win there for Bloodsport. Next fight. I know what you're thinking, yeah? These are 2 boring-ass bots. This is definitely the sleeper fight. Well, due to unforetold circumstances, I've had to withdraw Badger because something happened. The fight was just boring. So I thought I'd make a little funny fight here. Instead of Badger versus Hijinks, we have Hijinks versus Chomp. Obviously, Hijinks, first time debuting in Fight Club. It's basically KRs where the wheels are long, thin undercutter as well. And then we know Chomp. It's Season 2 Chomp. But the difference in this Chomp compared to the last one is that Chomp is using lipos. And, well, you're just going to have to see. This one should be fun. Let the bot battle begin. Chomp already with the big speed there. And look at, this is the funny part I was talking about. Chomp with lipos reacts a lot like the original Chomp, where it's just not able to, every time it fires it hammers, it just flips. Very accurate this way, but Hijinks doesn't really know what to do. Chomp fires that hammer for absolutely no reason. Hijinks trying to put them in the screws. Chomp is doing a bunch of flips here. They fire their hammer for no reason again. Hijinks with a nice hit, I guess, on one of those wings. Chomp trying to self-right, and they do, and then miss again. This is the funny part of this fight. Chomp almost throws themselves out of the box. Chomp just trying to get... Chomp getting some hits there, though. That's a nice job there. That was a nice self-right. Chomp... Dude, fucking Chomp. Yeah, so I don't really know. Hijinks is confused as hell. Pits have dropped. I don't think any of these bots will get a pit KO, but we'll see. Nice pin there from Chomp, though, getting a hammer and then doing a flip. That was cool.
Oh, that was
and
sick.
Yeah, Hijinks trying to just face this thing, but it's like every time it faces it, it just flips right over it. Hijinks has lodged their wheels into the screws, though. Chomp, no way, dude. Chomp trying to self-right. They're trying, but I don't think they can get upright. Double KO, maybe? Hijinks has gone out, but they've lost a wheel into the screws. Chomp might actually win this. This is stupid as fuck. Chomp going in for extras, trying to get some hammer hits in, and then flip themselves over again. Nice self-right, but Hijinks is not moving. I think this is going to be a countdown and a KO. Chomp is just taking extra shots, even though this is probably unsportsmanlike conduct. I think, yeah, Hijinks has been KO'd, and Chomp is your winner, which is surprising because they kind of just flipped the whole time. Well, that was something. Chomp did a lot of the, let's beat ourselves up and win at the same time, and it actually worked. Chomp did more flips than it hit Hijinks. Hijinks did alright in this fight, kind of controlling it, using that undercutter when it can. It's a very wide bot, so it's very hard to position this thing to do well. But it was this moment where Chomp accidentally pushes Hijinks into the screws, and the wheel managed to pop out, and Hijinks just couldn't get out of their circumference. So good win there for Chomp. I think we should use lipos in this thing more often. Chomp's 2-0, so I'm gonna give it a harder opponent, and it will be fun when we see this thing destroy itself while getting absolutely destroyed. But now, time for our main event. And the time has finally come. We have made it to our main event. We've got Mayhem versus Division. Mayhem from Oatmeal Robotics, shout out again. Whiplash, tower vert, wedges, forks. This is basically the perfect vertical spinner you can have in Hexbugs, basically. Defeated Silent Spring with ease in under a minute. But now they verse Division, which is, again, it's not using the long bar, actually. It's using a disc. And it had a great showing against Ferocity. And these were basically the two most entertaining bots of the last couple of episodes. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top after their good performances in the beginning. So let's see who wins.
3, 2.
And let the main event begin. Both these bots with low forks. Who will get under? Who is the question? Both of them going face first, but it's Mayhem getting under Division early there, but that's Division with a good self-right. Mayhem getting under again and throwing them into that corner there. Mayhem, but they're in trouble here. They've got their fork stuck under the wall, but Division unable to capitalize. It's a good save there from Mayhem. This is an uphill battle for Division. This is basically the perfect vert. Even if Division does get under them, Mayhem has tons of tools and armor to last for a while. Mayhem getting under Division and throwing them into the screws. That's good control there. Mayhem has an opening here. They could take a shot at the underbelly, but too slow to do so, and Division gets off, luckily. But it's Mayhem pushing Division towards the wall and getting that weapon back up and firing. Division, I don't know, they're struggling here. Mayhem doing a good job here. Division kind of, that's a big shot there, and they've gotten Division onto that upper shelf. It's very uncommon. We never really see the upper shelf do anything. But the pits have dropped, 1 minute remaining. That's kind of the purpose of the upper shelf, to kind of like hide those pits better, but it is Mayhem continuing to dominantly push Division around. Division needs to come up with an answer. It has all been Mayhem so far. One of those forks have been mangled. That is not good. Division's spinner looking a little bit, it's not as straight as it used to be. That's another good shot there from Mayhem. But yeah, you can see the power of Mayhem as it has destroyed one of those forks, and that spinner is like, it's no longer straight, it's kind of warped to one side. And that's a good pick KO, and they've both gone in, but we're going to give it to Mayhem. I think they've entered in last, but let's go over a recap. Mayhem just outgunned Division here. I think from the early beginning, Division just never really got under Mayhem, allowing Mayhem to basically go to town with that weapon, getting lots of good hits here. And then at the end, where Division was basically crippled at this point, Mayhem really wanted a KO, so they went for the pit, but they just accidentally entered in the same time. We're going to give it to Mayhem, though, because they entered in last, and even if it was a double pit KO, the judge's decision would go to Mayhem. But yeah, good win there for Mayhem, and that concludes episode 4. Wrapping things up here, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Fight Club episode 4. Doing it every Friday as to the best of my ability. We saw some newcomers do their things, as well as some old-time names do their things. And yeah, stay tuned next Friday for episode 5. I've been your host, Icebreaker Robotics, and we'll see you in the next Fight Club.